I hope you're all up and waiting for me. Welcome to our podcast, Jean Lewis Dog Wheelchairs. I'm calling it Wheels and Wags, this podcast. So I hope you're all tuning in. Just want to thank you all for viewing and sticking with us. I say that all the time, but I really mean it, because without you viewing, nobody's going to get to know about all of this. These amazing wheelchairs. Fantastic. Okay, we'll go over a couple of things tonight. I'll be talking about Paw Pounders Doggy Daycare, a fantastic place just up the road from us, towards Four Oaks in Sutton Coldfield. Probably a few of you locals will probably already know it. But what a place. They've got everything there. Puppy training, dog training. Shout out to Paw Pounders, to Nick and his staff. Hi there. So, if you don't know it already, Paw Pounders is a really, really good place to take your dog. They're all highly trained. Your dog's well looked after. They have such fun. And if you've never heard of it before, please look for it. You'll find it on Google, and they're just local lovely people. They've got activity courses, swimming pools for the dogs. They all get treats. They all have their own little beds, have little naps. They haven't got a lot of disabled dogs. They have had a few who've found it fine. They'll just be integrated with all the other dogs, because these wheelchairs, that's what they do. They allow dogs who have got mobility issues to still go out and be a dog, basically. That's what it's all about. So before I go any further with that, I'll tell you a bit more in a minute. I really must, and I think you're going to like this. I always talk about the technical aspects of dog wheelchairs. So tonight I thought I'd do something different, and I've received a lovely message, an email from some of our viewers, Dennis and Pat, and it was that lovely. I really wanted to read it to you. So, you know, if you're with me on that, keep on tuning in, and I think you'll like this. I really do. So I'll just tell you this, and we'll go back to Paw Pounders and the wheelchairs and a little bit more on that. So it begins. Molly, that's their dog, is a lovely, loving Labrador. I'm reading this because it's their story. So if I look away and look at my paper, you'll know why. By the way, if my hair looks a bit dodgy, I've just not long got out the shower. But I didn't want to miss this, because, as we know, my podcast and the show must go on. So here I am, wet hair and all. So Molly is a lovely and loving Labrador, and she captured the hearts of everyone who met her. She had a zest for life and loved nothing more than chasing after tennis balls and snuggling up, as they do, with her family. But then Molly was diagnosed with a mobility issue, which we come across a lot. Her life changed drastically then. To help her regain her mobility and independence, her mum and dad, her pet mum and dad, turned to a dog wheelchair. And this is the story of their journey with Molly and the challenges they faced as her caregivers. Molly began to show signs of a mobility issue, so they took her to the vet, obviously, for evaluation. The diagnosis was devastating. She had degenerative myelopathy. That's a progressive disease that affects a spinal cord and hind legs on dogs. The vet then recommended perhaps you could try a dog wheelchair to help Molly regain her mobility and her quality of life. Because after all, that's what they want to do, is run. Just run with their friends. So, to someone who had never dealt with a dog wheelchair before, you can imagine they thought, well, what is it? They were overwhelmed then with options and information. And they started to research themselves online and talking to other dog owners who already had a wheelchair. So they learned and gleaned a lot of information from these people. Off they went and learned all about several types of dog wheelchairs that were available and how to find the one that would fit Molly for her specific needs. When dogs have got all different types of injuries or disorders, you need to choose the right wheelchair for them, which I've spoke about before. After researching and talking to experts, Dennis and Pat found a company that specialised in dog wheelchairs. They helped them select a wheelchair that was the right size and fit for Molly after considering, and I've said this before, considering her height, her weight, length and her actual mobility issues. It was a big investment. They're not cheap, but they knew it was worth it to help their pet. So after that, they just got going. Getting Molly used to the wheelchair, though, did have a lot of challenges. She was hesitant and scared at first, and it took a lot of patience and encouragement to help her to adjust to the wheelchair. They had to learn how to properly adjust the wheelchair to fit her, and her changing needs over time as she grew older and her mobility issues somewhat worsened. The challenges as a caregiver of a dog with a mobility issue can be many, and they face these challenges. Simple little things like going for a walk or getting out of the car became much more difficult, as you can imagine. It would do, because you can't just open the door and go, come on. You've got to put your dog in the wheelchair, make sure they're safe, and off you go. But yeah, thousands of people use these wheelchairs. So, what was I? I've gone off the story. You have to bear with me. Molly also had to deal with the emotional toll. And, of course, Dennis and Pat, of watching Molly struggle at first. And also, there's a financial burden of owning a wheelchair, even after you've bought it. They refused to give up on Molly, though, because they loved her so much. And they continued to advocate for her every needs. One of the biggest challenges was getting Molly to move in the wheelchair once they'd put her in. At first, she'd just sit there and didn't walk or move or do anything much, just looking bewildered. They tried using different treats and positive reinforcement measures to encourage her, but it didn't work straight away. It actually took several weeks of training and practice and patience before Molly actually began to move on her own. So finding a balance between helping her but not pushing her, and also giving her the freedom to explore and play on her own, was another big challenge, because they wanted to look after her. So at first they were afraid to sort of let her out of their sight, let her off the lead. But eventually they learned to trust her and allowed her off the lead and to have a lot more independence and run through fields just like she used to do. You can imagine, you don't want your dog falling out of a wheelchair, but once you make sure they're quite safe and they're strapped in, shouldn't be a problem. Just obviously don't let them go through woods, bombing along and over huge logs, because, you know, that would be bad. So owning a dog wheelchair was a significant financial burden, as I've just said. The cost of the wheelchair itself was significant. They haven't said how much they paid for theirs, but they are quite expensive. But there were also additional expenses, because once you've got the wheelchairs, you have to maintain them. Because when a dog goes out in them, well, and they're running about, there's nuts can come loose, you may need new tyres, lots of things. So you have to think about that. They had to learn how to safely store and transport her wheelchair as well, which wasn't always easy. But despite the challenges, they learned the importance of perseverance and hope. And with each small improvement that Molly had, they were reminded of why they had decided to invest in a dog wheelchair. For Molly, her progress was slow, but they never ever lost sight of the hope that she would one day regain her mobility. Excuse me. So, after several months of hard work and dedication, she had fully adjusted to a wheelchair. That's great news. You can imagine, they've said we were so happy. She was able to move and play just like she had before the mobility problems. They were able to enjoy their time together once again as a family. Obviously, when Molly's in the house, she's out of the wheelchair, popped onto the settee or the bed with them, and they're doing what they did before. They found a new normal that allowed them to cherish every moment with her and go back to how they were with their beloved pet. Just like to read you a quote. Life is not always easy, but it is worth it to persevere for the ones that we love. And that's not just pets. All of your loved ones, your family, everyone. Remember that. It's a great quote. Molly taught them the importance of perseverance, hope, and last but not least, unconditional love. Her journey with a dog wheelchair was not easy, but it was worth it to see her get some of her independence back and her joy for life, just watching her running. It was all worth it. And Dennis and Pat hope that by sharing their story, it'll inspire others to never ever give up on their furry companions and to always do whatever they can and advocate for their needs in whichever way you can. Do you know, I read that story and I've heard from lots of people, but I've never had a story before. I really loved that. I mean, it's from the heart, and a lot of times I do my videos live, my podcast. I've just started. This is only my second one. So you can probably tell. But, you know, we've all got to learn. We've all got to start somewhere. So I hope you're going to stick with me, because I'm going to be doing a lot of podcasts. Oh, yeah, a lot of them. So this was great to get this, because it's given me the chance to look at it, to look at these wheelchairs from their perspective. And as I say, I'm normally talking about technical aspects of wheelchairs and where you can get them from and how to fit your dog in. And that's great, and people need to know that, because a lot of people don't know where to get them from. I've had quite a few people comments come through. They actually think that we make them. We don't make them. Walking Wheels make them, and they're fantastic things as well. So, no, we don't make them. We don't sell them. We, as I've said before, began this channel for education purposes only. To spread the word to dog owners and cat owners, or guinea pig owners for that matter. I've never, ever been so surprised in my life as to see a tiny little guinea pig and a hamster in a tiny little set of wheels. If you've never seen them, get on YouTube and have a look, because it's just amazing. I mean, they've got them for calves, for goats. It's just stunning. You know, it's amazing what people can do, isn't it? If you really want to. So I thought tonight I'd do this instead. And have a little chat about paw pounders, who I mentioned at the beginning. So I hope you like this story. And I did, because it's just a real story from real people about their dog. And I thought it was great. So I hope you do too. Anyway, I'm going to pop back now to Nick at Paw Pandas. Yeah, I've done his shout out, so he's okay. While I'm at it, I want to tell you that now and again I call people out. Obviously, you know, I've got thousands of comments to our videos, and I love to talk to all of them. Unfortunately, I just can't. I mean thousands. So don't think that I'm not thinking about you, because I do. Because if it wasn't for all of you, we wouldn't be getting all this message out and saving dogs. Yeah. I'd like to just say to you, by the way, up in the right-hand corner, you'll find my shorts feed. Okay? Up there. There it is. And then, please go to my community channel. I'd love to hear from you. We want to build a community of dog lovers, cat lovers as well. You can come in. I haven't any experience with cat wheelchairs, and that's the only reason I don't talk about them much, if at all, because I haven't really got the expertise to talk about popping a cat in a wheelchair. I should imagine it's not far off the same as your little furry friend dog. But as I say, if I knew a lot more about them, and I may well learn that, we can incorporate them in as well to my videos and my podcasts, live events. So hang in there, cat lovers. Okay, I love cats too. I've had a few. So don't worry, I'll get to them in the end. At the moment, I've got to stick with my dog wheelchairs. What else? Okay, I hope you're all still with me. Yeah? And don't forget my subscribe button. It's doing really well. So smash the subscribe button. I'll tell you that halfway through, or I'll forget at the end. So there you go. Anybody who's watching YouTube, who's able to share anything with anyone, please do. Because the more you share these things, the better. Or tell your friends about it, and they can come on, watch my podcasts, go and see my videos. We've had over 5 million views. I think it's more than that. Might be a little bit less. I might be exaggerating a bit, but there's millions. So thank you, all of you who are viewing. Yeah. Back to Paw Pounders now, because we've finished this little story. Nick at Paw Pounders. He set this Paw Pounders up. It's called Doggy Daycare. Please check it out. We take the dogs up there. You will be seeing them soon. They've got a lovely activity course. And Skylar, our double amputee, is amazing. We took the pug round. We haven't videoed this, but we will do. We took little Luna round the pug, who was jumping all over the hurdles, running through the little tubes that they have, you know, what kiddies have it, don't they, as well. Running all through there and having great fun through a splash pool. They love it. And Skylar, bless her heart, Skylar's running along, but of course she can't, well, she can jump actually. We have to take her out of a wheelchair to do the course, but she's fine. We don't leave her on her two legs too long, but she chooses it and moves about okay, just not too long. She's following Luna. You will see it soon. But we had to drop the hurdles because obviously she can't really jump over them. We wouldn't let her. So we put them on the floor and she thinks she's jumping them. So she's having fun. And that's what it's all about. Dogs want fun, you know. So tonight, as I say, it's getting a bit late. I've just got out of the shower. So I'm going to go along now, have a lovely cup of coffee, and I'll be seeing you soon. I'm going to do at least 2 podcasts a week, and that's a promise, because I actually like these podcasts. I love doing videos. I love being outside. But, you know, later on at night, it's great just sitting here, rabbiting away, and I hope you like it. So, tell you what, let me know if you like it through my community channel. You can come through there or send me a comment. However, just let me know anyhow you like. That would be great by me. Okay. I want to thank you all for tuning in. And I'm going to see you in the next podcast. Probably another go a day after that. But we'll let you know. Okay. Bye for now.